Blake's Buzz Live. Hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Whoa, drop my phone. Buzz, buzz, what's up? Happy new comic book day. Happy Wednesday. I know last week was a little confusing because we went live on Tuesday. But my friends, we had a launch party for their Kickstarter. So instead of Wednesday, we went live on Tuesday. My buddies are doing Requiem. It's live on Kickstarter. You should go check out last week's show, and you should check out Requiem on Kickstarter because it's a really cool sci-fi book. And I'd like to think I know what some cool sci-fi books are because I got a whole crew of sci-fi people on to talk about another book tonight that's real cool. I'm real excited about. But first, hope everyone had a wonderful day. Let's do some commercials. Tonight's show is sponsored by Michael Gecko Adams, who has a new series, Hero, out from Keen Spot. To keep up with what he's got going on, and trust me, you want to keep up with it, head over to geckoadams.com and tell your shops to put Hero on your pull list. You can still get number one. You can still order number two. Comes out in November. And if your shop for some reason can't get it, you can go to the Keen Spot shop. Pre-order yourself a copy. I believe you can still get number one there as well. Link is in the description. Also, friendly reminder of the books we talk about tonight. The links will be in the description. Next up, where we at? Oh man, I'm all discombobulated. Before we kick things off tonight, I got to shout out Ruination, a brutal, character-driven fantasy epic full of political intrigue, betrayal, and jaw-dropping art. If you love morally gray heroes, worlds on the brink of collapse, and the kind of storytelling that keeps you flipping pages at 3 a.m., Ruination is the book for you. The new campaign is live on Kickstarter right now. Don't miss your chance to get it. Speaking of crazy comics on Kickstarter, I got to talk about a crossover division where fiction bleeds into reality and our heroes are forced to battle literary legends come to life. This time, they pissed off Cthulhu. Yeah, Cthulhu, tentacles and all. If you're ready for cosmic horror, clever storytelling, and a series that keeps raising the bar, head over to Kickstarter now and back crossover division before the old gods swallow us all. My goodness. By the way, we are doing Comics the Magazine. Prana released Comics the Magazine issue 0. Some of you were at NYCC and got a copy. Well, I won't be in Baltimore, but Prana has a booth in Baltimore. 1610. Follow Comics on all the socials, Comics the Magazine. They're doing cool things, right? And it's if you are at Baltimore, you can swing by booth 1610, meet the crew, meet my boss, Adam, say hi, and also my other boss, Megan, who is always right. If you go to booth 1610, all right, folks, here's the deal. If you go to booth 1610, I want you to tell Adam and say, hey, Megan was right. Everybody who goes to booth 1610, I want you to say Megan was right, and you'll get and then sign up. You go to the booth, you say, Megan was right, and you sign up for Comics the Magazine, the newsletter, which is a newsletter you want to sign up for anyway, because it's going to be awesome. You do that, you get a free copy of issue 0, and one day it's going to be worth $1 million. Probably. I don't know. I don't know that for a fact, but it's a good guess. All right, let's bring out some guests, shall we? First up, we got an extremely talented comic artist and letterer, let's try this again. First up, we got an extremely talented comic artist and colorist who's worked on epic properties like Stranger Things, Star Wars, and Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. He's the creator of Reclaimer, and he's here to talk about a new indie project. Let's bring him out, Mr. Dave Fowler! What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
How's it going?
I mean, it's great now after that introduction. I mean, it's, doesn't get any better than that. I don't even have to say anything now. You said it all.
I was introduced to your work by Gerald, who was like, hey, we're coming on. And I Googled you. I was like, holy shit. So I'm excited to talk about you. And then I kind of stalked your social medias a little bit. I really did. I dig your art. I dig the zombie sketches you're doing. I'm assuming for spooky season. I like it. Very, thank you. Very, very moody and visceral things that make good genre fiction. I hear you guys are doing some cool sci-fi.
Yes, definitely.
Oh yeah.
It's a pretty funny story, actually. as you mentioned, I'm a comic artist. I do interiors and covers, and I was looking for cover work or making myself available for cover work. And Gerald was like, "Hey, you interested in doing some colors?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then I saw the book and I saw the pages, and it's absolutely insane the work that he's doing. And that's my kind of thing, is don't mess it up. So try not to mess it up. His stuff looks great. Shout out to the Moon Knight that he just did, the commission yesterday. I told him I was going to talk about it tonight. So there we go.
Sinkovich vibes for I probably said his name wrong, but like Bill vibes for days. Like I feel like Bill and a little oh my god, why is him and Bendis did stuff together? Why am I can't think of his name. They did Daredevil and
Maleev, maybe.
Yes, Maleev. Thank you. Yeah, like some of that very texturalized anger. That's what it is. It's angry art, man. It's mean.
Funny. I see Bill every year when I go to New York Comic Con, and last year he said to me, "Never underestimate the value of anger in making art." So it's a pretty good pretty good statement.
Hell yeah, I'm not stupid. Always good. All right, well that's Dave. We could keep talking, but we got to bring these other guys out. I forgot. I got swept up in the chat already. Stoked to talk more though. All right, this next guest has been on before. Oh man, I gotta get I need a teleprompter. They sell those now. They're like $300, so fuck that. Anyway, next up, this next guest. Let's get him cued. All right. This guest has been on the show a few times before. He's written Grim Space, Polar Paradox, Pipe Creepers, and tons of other epic fucking one-shots. I also think he still may hold the record for fastest fulfillment on Kickstarter. Let's bring out Frank Martin!
Woo!
Whoa! Hey, stop it!
Blake, man, you can get me to buy anything.
Fuck yeah, that's what I'm here.
Dave, I love that quote. Never underestimate, what was it, anger in art. That works for writing too. Like sometimes you just get angry and just write some.
Oh yeah, and then you feel it's like a hot shower when you're done, right? It's like a cleanse almost sometimes when you. So it was say what with like a real scary scene or a real funny scene. Like anytime you can like throw a lot of emotion at the page and it works. It's like that's a therapeutic moment.
I mean, you write about stuff that you can't actually do because otherwise you get arrested. So that's a lot of fun. Just getting all that anger out that way.
You'll never be a plumber. I'm sorry.
No.
I guess you could be a regular plumber.
But you know what it is? That story in particular, Pipe Creepers. I wasn't a plumber, but I was in a trade that had me go into nasty basements all the time, and it made me angry. So yeah, that's where the story came from. A lot of my pet peeves were in that story.
Nice. Pet peeves. That's a good source of anger. Little things that add up to a big lash out, right? Shout out to John Westhoff. What's up? He probably has a Kickstarter live. You should go check it out. He makes awesome comics too. Part-time comics. They're great. All right, we have one more guest who's also been on the show. Let's get him out, and then we'll really dive in to the nerd chat. Last but not least is don't go dark on me screen. Last but not least is a talented indie artist who keeps raising eyebrows with jaw-dropping cover art and epic creator-owned series like Immortal Coil. I hear he's got some new stuff up his sleeves. Let's get him out here and see what we can get him to talk about. Mr. Gerald Von Stoddard! Get him out here! What's up, baby? All of you guys are working on a book. I'm stoked to talk about it. How are you, Gerald? How you been? It's been a minute.
I'm good. It has been a minute. You are like the opposite of me, which is why I love listening.
Yeah, I'm fat. Thanks for bringing it up.
That's what I
skinny.
meant. You're like
a wide man. It's okay.
No, you're like volume 13. I'm like volume 2.5.
No, it's okay. Like Dave mentioned though, you may be a volume 2.5 sometimes, but your pages are at a you're turning it up to 11 on the pages, man. I mean, like insane. That the Daredevil sketch you post that isn't finished yet, I was like, whoa. And then that Moon Knight is nuts. Can I add, you said that like these are commissions that you're cranking out right now? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
What is it rude to ask what something like that costs? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
If you want to know, just send me a-
Priceless. It's priceless.
It's absolutely priceless. Well, it's different because I'm trying to move more. If I'm doing covers or commissions, I'm trying to move more into painting. Like, if I could just paint, I would. I'd paint all day. And just get Dave to do interiors, and
I'd be
Frank
painting too.
writing the script so I could just paint a cover and just let it go.
How long does it take you to paint something like that?
The painting actually, there's a two-part process. I mean, there's thinking about it, and actually, I find it the more detailed the sketch, the worse the painting is. That Moon Knight, the only sketch I did was the face where there was black. There was nothing else. I didn't know what was going to go in there, and then a day.
Wow.
A better part of.
What are you doing like in your spare times and your warm-ups? Because I love your art. I've loved it for a long time, but I feel like that the art you were on a couple months ago for your art book, and I some of those pages like rocked me, and it's just you keep finding ways to push yourself and level up, and simultaneously do a lot of covers and do a lot of work. It's very impressive. What do you say to like other artists that are trying to make moves and stuff, and to like, how do you keep pushing yourself to excel and not get comfy?
Have a Frank Martin on your team.
Nice. All right.
Because if I don't,
you got to tell my wife that. You got to call her up immediately and say, you got a good one. Treat him better.
You got to
get me off the ledge. I don't know. Writers are a special bunch, but I think artists, we are mad. We are mad people. We live very visually. I mean, writers live in their head too, but I something about the artistic temperament that is not. There's a reason it's a cliche. So Frank is very grounding. And we work very closely together now for almost a year.
Yeah, you guys have been working together. Real quick before we dive into that relationship, though, some of you, this is what we were talking about. This is the Moon Knight that he just posted a few days ago. Insane. Yes. There's so much emotion, even in the heavy the heavy inks. Like I see these scratch marks, these imperfections. Very
I don't
cool.
know if he knows, but in that top right above his head is actually a scratched skull of Khonshu.
Is that what it is? Oh,
yeah.
That's so cool.
And then I just wiped it out with a paper towel.
Wow.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I think you do, though. I feel like you do. It looks like you do. If you don't tell anybody.
Yeah, right. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. Let's talk about, because we've already kind of mentioned like where kind of some power from storytelling comes from anger, like from heavy emotion. What's some ways, before we get into like your book specifically, because I don't, Dave, I don't know a lot about you, but some of the art I've looked at and the projects you've worked on are like not like hand holding, it's some darker, moodier stuff. And I know Gerald and Frank like live in the scary, right? So how do you like, I'm thinking of the Moon Knight we just looked at, right, with the texture and like this, you decided to scratch the skull like in there, right? That's kind of like a violence to the page, right? So like, did that come to you like in the moment, like you're drawing, you're putting black?
Well, I've been painting and drawing my whole life, and I quit comics for a while, and I set up a studio outdoors. That's like 20 years ago now, and I only painted with dirt and rocks and sticks and paint, and I had all this mid-20s emotion, just like make this figure and then just destroy it. I don't know, there's some, so but it's not, I don't feel angry when I'm doing it. I feel zen.
Wow. That's, oh man.
Yeah. I don't, if there's anger that comes out in it, I think that the word is, I get what you're saying. It's more visceral. It's more,
Okay.
there's no separation between, you know, I don't know what the word is. I mean, visceral is the only word I could think of. You know, just stream of consciousness, like not wanting to be cautious.
Okay.
You know,
You're in your like natural human state. You're like, there's like, in a sense, like, in like just no inhibitions, kind of, you're just like in the zone, just like,
well, yeah, absolutely. And experimenting, trying some different stuff. I mean, you know, I knew that once I started releasing, you know, my painting work, that there would be comparisons to Sankiewicz. And Bill has been a huge idol of mine since I was young. I mean, the books he was on were actually books that I loved, and no one makes art like that anymore. And that's something too, where Dave and I, as artists, share a very common language, which is why I was very excited that he said yes to come on board to Love and Death, because it wasn't just we didn't just want to find a colorist. I wanted to find a co-conspirator, like someone whose energy matched, you know, because Frank had written this great script, and I wanted the art to not just be typical comic book fare. And if you've ever seen Dave's art, I mean, even his line work, you know, it has a very painterly, a lot of brush strokes, has that visceral kind of throwing caution to the wind kind of, that kind of vibe you used to get from picking up a Vertigo book, you know. And so we wanted to bring some of that into this story because it's such a beautiful, tragic story. So I want the art to be kind of counterpoint to it, to have a bit of a darkness to it, because the story is dark, but it's not as dark as, it's not a horror like, you know, that Frank and I have kind of been doing for a little bit.
okay, interesting. And Frank, I've read a lot of your stuff too, and it gets real dark and weird. And you've even ventured into the not safe for work territories a little bit. Like, what do you do to let yourself go to tell your story? Because I mean, and maybe I'm wrong, because I really like Scott Snyder. Okay, I love his writing. His style changed a little bit when he had his youngest son. Because he had like the son, he had some health problems and stuff. I think he had some surgeries or like, but he kind of didn't go, like he found like some hope in his narratives, which makes sense. Like he was searching maybe for hope in his life. You know, maybe I'm looking too much into this shit, but like I said, not bad writing, but it changed a little bit. And he's starting, as his youngest son is older now, Snyder's starting to kind of find that meanness again. In some of his scripting, and that hardness, and it's very exciting. And I've wondered, you know, like, does it get hard? Because you're a fan, you got pets, you're a family guy. We just mentioned in the green room, you got big family stuff going on real soon, and like, you know, is it and you're not afraid to go there? How do you separate like Frank Martin, family man, to like whatever role you're writing?
I don't think there is a separation. I mean, I read, like, that resonates with me. I think when I started, I'll put it to you this way. It's 95% easier for me to get me to cry in movies now. No, like now that I got kids, now I got, my wife and I have been married for a while. I don't know what it is. Movies just like, when my wife and I look at each other, we're bawling. I'm like, who is this person? What is the tears? So yeah, it's just, I don't know. Getting older, having kids, experiencing more life, it allows you to tap into emotions. And that's really kind of just what the stories that I write. And then this story in particular, there's a lot of emotion here. You know, it really started, Gerald pitched me, not necessarily a story, but he pitched me a character. He pitched me a person that had this very tragic essence to him. And it resonated with me. And we just kind of, I developed his story, I developed his world and the journey that he went on. And it's sad, man. I was reading it and I'm like, Gerald, why'd you make me write this? You know, but there's a lot of love there. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of care. There's a lot of fear. And we call it a fairy tale or a sci-fi fairy tale, but it's all over the map in these different emotions that it touches. It's not just horror and dark. It's not just love and light. It's both of them. It's love and death, you know?
Oh yeah, dude, I'm excited. The marketing and stuff you've done and what you've shown, like everything looks super heavy. What's up, Katie? Thanks for hanging out. I'm super stoked to see what you guys are doing. I've been into this pairing for a hot minute, but before I talk about this Gerald Frank union, we got to bring in Dave, and Dave, I brought up because everybody's mentioned your art. So I brought up the page, and I mean, this is again, like, it feels like you just are really pushing the whatever you're using, like, against the screen or against the paper. It's just, there's weight to it. There's emotion, there's feeling. I really dig it. And it just, to see what you're going to bring to, like, colors in a sci-fi setting, with these guys, it's very exciting. I can see why you were enticed by this project. You said you hadn't done, like, a ton of comic work before, so you were like kind of nervous, like, messing with the interiors, or just like, are you feeling more comfy?
Yeah, so this is the first project that I've colored. I've done about 6 books at this point, interior wise. Self-published, creator-owned horror comic that I did lettering for and everything. And I don't know, I actually have a funny Bill story about that book. Yeah, no, I mean, it's interiors is where I'm most comfortable. Coloring was something that was totally different. Like I said, I posted something saying, hey, I'm available for covers if anybody wants any cover work done. And Gerald had messaged me just saying, hey, how do you feel about maybe coloring some stuff? And he sent me the pages, and I was like, okay, don't fuck this up. These pages
I did
good.
not. So just for the record, I did not say don't fuck.
No, not. You've been nothing but supportive. You guys have been super supportive of everything that I've done, to the point where I'm almost like, do they really like it, or are they just kind of afraid to tell me that they hate it? You know what I mean? But
well, you can listen. Don't take my word for it. Ask Frank.
If you wanted, I mean, when Gerald was talking, he was talking about making the story visceral. And Blake, I don't know if you want to pull up the pre-launch page, but there we have the first 2 pages there, which is a page and then a double page spread. And that was really the test, right? If somebody nailed the colors for that page, yeah, it got the feeling down. And we actually tried with a couple of people, and Dave was the one that really he tapped into the wavelength. You know, you ever see those shows
Sure.
where they have the 2 different wavelengths,
yeah,
and they got to sync up? That's what it was like. And it was, yeah.
Well, what's funny is that Dave actually, so I sent Dave a test page, and Dave, and I was excited. I actually, secretly, I was probably going, don't fuck this up, Dave, because I like you, dude, and I might not be friends with you anymore if you fuck this up. But I sent him the test page, and Dave sends this. I think this is fucking hilarious. So Dave sends me this page. He goes, he's like, this is what I got so far. I'm not done yet. And I was like, stop. Don't touch it. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And I meant that. I knew it from the second I saw it. And I had a bunch of artists, colorists that was trying, colors that, Frank and I use regularly, who do great work. This was a very different project. And, when you think visually, I could see it in my head, and I knew that we would find the right sort of, one thing I just want to say really quick. One of the reasons I was very excited to ask Dave too is because he's not a colorist, he's an artist. And that felt super, super important, because it didn't want to bring a colorist on it, but someone who could also kind of see the picture, get the mood.
You know what it was, Blake? It's how do you color space, right? The first 2 pages is you have to color. It takes place in space. How do you add color to that?
I want to know how you letter it, because there's no sound. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But seriously, it was interesting to see different people's take on what Gerald had done, and it's like, when you're if I say color a school bus, there's only so many ways you can take it, right? But with these 2 pages, you have a dark void monster in space. And all right, now jazz it up. Like it takes a certain level of vision and creativity, and Dave kind of synced with it.
Yeah, he knocked it out of the park.
Well, I remember the first time we talked about it, and it kind of made sense to me. And I think I'd said something along the lines of, you can't flat the stuff. And I think a lot of colorists, just their natural approach, correct me if I'm wrong, like I said, I'm not a colorist, but it is to flat. And then you go in your highlights and lowlights and everything else. So I knew kind of working to this, that's not what the approach was, and that's not what it wanted. It's not what it was wanted to be. So I think that I had a pretty good idea from the get-go of what they were looking for, what you guys were looking for, and just the conversations that we had. So,
well, and it's Dave's fault too, because I knew Dave's an artist. We met through a friend, Ed Kane, who's actually involved in the book too, who's a writer, and he's helping do editorial with Frank on the final script. And I had met Dave through Ed. They did a book called Futility Shapes. And I'll tell you right now, if you haven't read Futility Shapes, check it out, because you have to read it about 6 or 7 times. And I promise you, you still have no fucking idea what just happened.
I don't know what just happened.
But I loved that. Like, it's the most unpredictable comic I read this year. And it definitely was my top 5. I don't even like to say indie comics, because I don't make a differentiation. It was in my top 5 list.
They'll get you. They'll get you for that.
I don't care.
No, I'm just messing with you.
Because comics are comics, and I don't care.
I agree. I agree. And and you can't, because you can't even really say you can still say the big 2, but it's really the big 3. And if you say the big 3, you really got to be like, well, it's actually the big 5. So I mean, really, it's like, and then the discourse spins out of that. Like, so what is indie anymore? And I don't, I'm not a gatekeeper. So if Marvel wants to release a weird line of comics and call it indie, I don't, let them, it's whatever. But
Marvel Spotlight.
That's kind of.
Oh no, they'll totally do that. I shouldn't have said.
I know
that.
Disney hounds me. They scour my content for ideas. All right. While I scroll through this page real quick. Well, first off, we got Katie. That's so sweet. But also so true. Like if you look up his art's crazy. But as I scroll through the page, which one of you wants to table pitch the comic to let the listeners know what we know it's dark, we know it's heartbreaking, we know it's in space. What else can we know about this?
All right, so the basic plot of the story is it takes place in the future, about 100 years in the future. They learn that the sun is dying, so they set up a research station on the dark side of the moon to kind of figure out what's going on, figure out ways to stop it or to live. They're just trying to get more knowledge. And this boy is born, this baby, because it's a whole community. And he has this weird ailment that exposure to sunlight exposes this darkness, this dark cloud that emanates from his body. And they don't know why it's happening. They're scared of him. So they kind of just push him aside. They kind of hide him out in a corner of the space station away from light. And a girl is curious about him. She's the daughter of the director of the station, and she takes an interest in him, and they form a friendship. And it's just about their story about this boy that's stuck. He's basically cursed to live this life on the moon. And she kind of warms him up, and she tries to see the goodness in him and how their story unfolds through very dramatic fashion.
First of all, this art's nuts. Second of all, I love the new Squid Bones corner box. I dig that. I don't know who's responsible for that, but I like that a lot. By the way, Chad made me laugh when I saw this comment come up. Chad, but so that's, I was pretty sure this was a Rolling Squid Bones title, because I mean you guys are like all in on that now, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, Mortal Coil and this book, and I think that's it at the moment.
Okay, that's cool. It's impressive what I feel like what the announcement of the name and the social media to follow us like wasn't that long ago, and already like I remember Chad was at a little like a local convention somewhere, or a convention. He's been at a couple conventions, but I feel every time I see a table, you got the tablecloth now, and you already got a big old stack of books to put on those tables. Like pretty crazy what you all put together in a few months.
Well, and there's 4 new creators that will be unveiled in early 2026 too.
Oh, whoa. Holy hell yeah, guys.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Some crazy stuff.
But this panel of the planets is fucking gnarly, by the way. It's insane. How do you color space? Well, Dave, you figured it out, dude. You got it. You got it, dude. Oh my God. Even this is nuts. This is nuts. Frank, how do you this story? You've written a lot. How's this ranking? Is this feels something different? Like this feels like something special? Maybe
it's a lot of my shorts are, or I should say, one shots. They're really contained because I'm trying to do it on a budget, and 20 or so pages. I haven't, and with this one, Gerald and I talked about it, and we were just let it out. It's really when I spoke to him about it, I'm like, this is not a contained story. This is some sort of epic. It's long. And Alan Moore has this quote, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here. When people asked him, like, do you want to go see the movies that are made from your comics? And he goes, no, I write comics so that people can sit by the fire with a cup of hot cocoa and read my book. And that's what this feels like. This is a book. You sit down on a night, it's rainy out, you got a fire going, and you just tear into it front to back. And I just kind of let it breathe, and I took our time with it. There's a lot of them. The story is not meant to be read. It's meant to be experienced, because it's really just front to back. I'm just kind of taking you on a roller coaster here. It's not like a Marvel comic. That's more like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Well, one of the things that Frank and I was important, and I think from here until late 2026, we've stepped away from making floppies, and we want to tell self-contained stories, and we want to make events. Frank's been making floppies for a while. We have Immortal Coil, the series, and we started a comic called 1,000 Cuts. And those are still, we're still working on those, piece by piece. Those will still be in floppy form. But we just talked about, when we were talking about this story, it was like, I think we did talk about it possibly being in issues, and it became very clear right away that was going to be impossible. But the effect of storytelling for this particular one, and what Frank had written, had to be, as he just described, read from beginning to end.
That's a big pet peeve of mine. I read so many comics now, and they're trades. They're 4 issues, and they're slammed together. And I read it, and I'm like, this was never meant to be broken up. This is a complete story from beginning to end. And I think comics, the economics of comics dictates the format. And I don't think that that's how it should be. This is... Sometimes you have a graphic novel that's supposed to be a graphic novel, and you're not supposed to serialize it. And so we kind of really leaned into that concept.
Yeah.
That's I dig that. And now we've mentioned, everybody's mentioned Frank's writing. The chat's asking too. I'm kind of curious. I may start doing this with writers. So thank you, Taylor Ann. Do you have a line, like a good quote from this that I don't know, made your nutsack sizzle or something, man?
Frank, what is one of the lines in the story?
What is a nutsack sizzling quote from this romantic sci-fi epic?
From this book or all of my books? I'll try to. I think the question is from all of the stories.
Yeah, if you got like a hot burning one-liner that you've long lived a love affair with, you can drop it.
You know what? I just brought one up to Gerald the other day. I wrote one for his villain. And what does it say? What did he say, Gerald? Oh, it was the villain walks up to somebody and says, we need to chase him. And he was already there, the villain. And he said, you can't chase the inevitable. You just have to wait for it to come to you. And then he kills them. I thought that was a good, badass kind of like I'm full of myself and you can't stop me villain line.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like it's like you said, like it's fun to write stuff that you can get in trouble for, but it's also like it's sometimes it's tricky because it's like you want to jump the shark a little bit. You want to like jump baby shark, maybe not jump like megalodon, but like, you want to do like some shark jumping, but it's like, sometimes you got to pull yourself back. And then especially with lines like that, and especially with comics, with this medium, right? Like it may be cliche and it may be a trope, but sometimes you got a character in a big panel who needs to drop a sizzler, right? You need to drop that line. And those moments, right? If when done well, are like perfect, but they're so easy to fuck up, right? Either overwritten, or overproduced, right? Like the art can try and do too. Anyway, like that's what I love comics, right? Because when you get those moments that like kind of the impossible happens, and listening to you three talk about this book, like I feel, and just the few pages I've seen, I feel like impossible is going to have just Dave's involvement, and I really dig Dave's style, and just like you kind of like recruited him from outside the norm. Like I kind of loved, because coloring a lot of times it's like, you want to budget a little bit, but you can't budget much, and so like not all the time can you kind of experiment with creators and get who you want. And I mean, I guess things are, you guys are all older. You probably have more money.
Wait, we get
like
paid for this stuff?
Oh yeah. I heard somebody did. I don't know. Maybe.
Shit.
That's the see, I've long thought that was you gotta get people to like believe in you, and then they're like, oh shit, yeah, and then they just want to be involved in it, and then really what you're doing is you're getting paid in exposure.
I'm a huge fan of working for exposure.
No, I'm sure this team's getting paid. That's like,
well, Dave is.
This might seem weird. This might seem weird, but when you're working on a story, and I've noticed this with Gerald, is that it's so much better when it's easy. And that might seem weird, but I've had a scene in a different project Gerald and I were working for, and I was having a tough time cracking the scene. And I'm like, I don't want to write it because it's like, I got to figure this out and I got to do it. And I was like, and then I spoke to Gerald and he's like, that doesn't make sense. Let's do it a different way. And when he pitched the other way to do it, I'm like, it clicked. And I'm like, now it's easy. Like when it's easy, it just flows and you're supposed to do it. If you're in a scene, like you said, and you're trying to write that one zinger, that one-liner, and you're thinking of it and you're thinking hard, then it's not easy. It's not just coming to you. If it comes to you, then it works. It's supposed to be that way. So you can't force this stuff.
But I think that's the beauty of collaboration, because I think that, everyone here has maybe a specialty, but at the heart of it is, Dave and Frank and myself are storytellers. We just come at it at different angles. And I think when we're open to those like angles intersecting, the story is like elevated, if that makes sense. It's not just a writer dictating, you do this and you do that and you do that. I don't feel that's not how Frank and I operate. We don't operate like that. I don't tell Frank what to do. He doesn't tell me what to do. We talk and we allow each other to have lots of room to experiment and only really go through stuff if something really is blocking us and we're feeling it, and I think that would be true. There was the double page spread. I mean, Dave and I went back and forth a little bit on it, but it wasn't difficult. It wasn't like, Dave, no, you need to do this. So I feel like the best type of comics making is when it really feels more like a team, and there's a lot of collaboration, and everybody has like just so much room to be themselves, but also be open to feedback, constructive criticism. There was, the test page I sent to Dave, I mean, I probably drew 4 and sent to Frank, and Frank's like, and then I would do another one, and Frank would be like,
that was an amazing Frank impression, by the way.
Was that pretty good, right? It was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
He's heard it a lot.
Because and it wasn't. I didn't take it personally. It wasn't like Frank wasn't going, "You suck." It was, we're kind of our first audience. That's how we kind of, the books that we do together, we're our first audience, and if we feel good, moving on.
Oh yeah. By the way, Frank Taylor Ann says she's taking your quote to the workplace tomorrow. So.
What's a good?
I was about to say we need more villains in the workplace, but then I was like, wait, that's why we have all these problems right now.
There's some good lines in this book, but they're all spoilery, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to find
spoil
a lot of those die-hard, like yippee-ki-yay motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any of that, but what you will get, because I've read the script a few times, is a realness. Like you have this crazy epic thing that's always at the center of the story that you could only do in a graphic novel comic book. But most of the lines that Frank has written are about real people having real dialogue.
You know what's more important to me is not necessarily the lines, like those one lines, those quotables that stick with you. It's the personal interactions between two people. And there's a scene in here, and Gerald knows the scene well. And it was a scene that I stole directly from an interaction my daughter had when she was like 4 with another boy. I was just watching them interact with each other. And it was a very cute and very adorable moment. She's going to be 11. So what was that? 7, 8 years ago this happened. And it's just sat in my brain. And then I had this moment in the story. I'm like, I'm copying this exactly what happens when they first meet. And it's not a line. There's no real dialogue. They don't say in each other, but they have this cute interaction that just sticks in my head. And it, like, whenever I read it in the script, it warms my heart.
Nice. I like that. I've been reading, I read a lot. I'm in a horror book club, like prose book club. And it's like good genre fiction, you have to, you gotta anchor yourself like in the emotions of the characters, right? You gotta care. You gotta care what happens to them. And it's, I love when it happens in horror, right? Like a really good, like a feel good moment or even like a funny, interesting, but it's always like I'm reading Only Good Indians right now, and it's like they talk about like friendship and like betrayal sometimes, and it's also like another culture, right, that you're kind of getting this viewpoint into. And I read on Kindle, right, and it always tells you like, oh, like 5,000 people highlighted this, and they're usually like good lines. But it's the lines that hit me are usually like way more simple, and no one's like not enough people highlight it to like have the Kindle mention it to you. But it's like I'm always like more impacted by like weird little moments like that, right? That it doesn't seem to matter to anyone else reading this book. So I like that. I like that it's more of like it's a moment and it's a big emotion, but it's not a big line necessarily. And you're right. The only way you can do that is in a comic with 3 fucking weirdos fucking doing the space odyssey, right?
Comic culture is so dominated by like superhero punches, and big explosions that it's a medium that really can touch into these heartfelt scenes if you get the right art team,
look at a book like Blankets. I mean, that's one of the best-selling graphic novels ever. And I don't think there's one explosion in there.
We got explosions. I don't know. We got a lot of messed up stuff. So I don't know if we have any explosions.
Yeah. It's not Blankets. This book is not Blankets. I hate to bring that book up, so there's no really comparison. But it's maybe like a mix, because Frank and I, we love different stuff and we love a lot of the same stuff. So we don't want it to just be slice of life. For us, that would be boring.
No, I understand the need for action and suspense, and you can't slow down everything. You got to keep it going, and there's a lot of that in this story too. There's a tad of everything. I try not to just pigeonhole myself into one box. It has to be one thing.
Nice. we got some people asking some questions in the chat, and I'm kind of going to spin. I'm kind of going to riff off of it.
Are they aware of my fee?
No one is. That we haven't.
No one's aware of you getting any sort of payment for this.
I'd like to think about, like inspiration and like what drives you, or like, themes that you want to dive into. Like, this is obviously, there is a slice of life bit, a bit of like, sounds like what it is, what it is to be human, what it is to exist in and beyond the world, which is an intriguing thing to think about as like a finite human, right? So that's got to be like interesting to play with on the page. I haven't really seen y'all tackle that in what I've been exposed to. I mean, Gerald, a little, you deal with immortals, I guess, but I don't know. This seems like a little heavier. What is this? What are some, like, where'd you find inspiration from in making this? Like, you had to obviously maybe like some good sci-fi and art, but this is beyond sci-fi. This is a scope that's bigger than a genre, kind of, right? Like, where'd you find inspiration and pull from to make this project happen?
Well, I mean, I started work. This was an idea that, at least just the seed of the idea. I mean, Frank, put water on it and grew it to this thing, but I mean, God, it was 15 years ago. And like I said, I've always been into the more weirder side of comics, I guess, from complete indie comics to Vertigo. I'll mention Vertigo all day, because back in the day they made the best books. For me, like everything they did, I bought. Like, I was there for it. And so, I've always been into darker, gothier stuff. I hate to use the word goth, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it is, it's sort of like,
say it again, Gerald. Say it.
Goth.
They don't come out if you don't say it. That is, this is a pro goth baddie channel, by the way. Any goth baddies that want to come out, we support you. It's spooky season. It's time, it's a special time of year. Am I muted?
So just to finish that, you're unmuted now, yeah. Just to finish that thought up, I mean, it was, Sandman was always my #1 favorite series. It's epic. It goes in and out. It's beautiful. It's dark. There are times there's like no real action happening. It's like pure dreamy storytelling, world building. So so it was a dark character who, was an embodiment of, I think, growing up and feeling like an alien, feeling like there's something wrong with you, and wishing that someone would see you beyond just a weirdo. I think that it is probably always at the heart of the stories that I come up with, is there's humanity even in the things you don't understand, even in the things that are scary, even in the things that seem monstrous or go bump in the night. There's always a human element. There's always something underneath. And I think if, maybe this was like a love letter if you ever grew up feeling like you didn't fit in, taken to the extreme.
What are you thinking about Vertigo being back? Can no one hear me?
No, I can hear him.
Okay.
I can hear you too.
Weird. I was like,
Gerald thinks you're muted, and he's
Gerald's in space right now.
Can Gerald hear anybody?
Now I can.
What do you think about Vertigo being back? The big news over the weekend.
I don't have. I hope. What's that?
Your iPad is connected, please.
Oh my
Can you
God.
forget? Please.
What's up?
Hold on. Ask somebody else that question. I gotta do something quick.
Okay.
From what I've seen from the Vertigo releases, they look pretty Vertigo.
Yeah,
So that's the one thing that I'm kind of excited about.
We were talking about how it kind of seems like DC, like if you said someone won the New York Comic Con, like it feels
Yeah.
like DC did it. Like they had a real big presence there. It sounds like.
DC seems to always be doing the stuff outside of like their main DC-ish superheroes, right? Like I remember they had Joe Hill running their horror line, right? They had a whole bunch of horror comics, and Marvel doesn't do really stuff like that, at least not to that degree. So
Comics is an interesting space. It really is.
I agree. And well, you mentioned Marvel not doing stuff. They used to do the
Icon, right? It was called Marvel Icon.
Well, and then they did like Knights, and then they did
Marvel Knights.
Well, and then there was the Daredevil, or not there was the Deadpool where they dropped the F-bomb. It was called something.
But it's still always within their characters, and they like to play in their sandbox.
Yeah.
Like the DC is willing to venture outside. And
I got you.
Yeah.
So it's not just darker content.
Like I just picked up this book that I completely forgotten about by Grant Morrison called Kid Eternity, and it actually isn't Bill or Dave McKean. I can't remember the name of the artist right now. I can't find the book, but it's along that style. And I'm reading this going, what is happening right now? I don't, but I'm here for it. It's like blowing my mind. I love a comic that I feel I have to, it's forcing me to pay attention and I love, but it also has that visceral art. There's definitely layered storytelling. Grant Morrison, I know, isn't for everyone. I'm a big fan.
I'm a huge Morrison fan. I started collecting mainly because I got into him and found out that he had this huge Batman epic, and like Batman Incorporated Part 2 was releasing in singles at the time, like around like New 52. So anyways, I went like on eBay, went to shops. I was scouring the internet because I gotta have hardcovers. I was like a hardcover nerd. I was like, okay. Anyway, I like bought his whole Bat saga, and I've loved Damian Wayne, even though everybody hated Damian Wayne. And I will die.
I love Damian.
I will die on the Damian. Yeah, I love him so much. And yeah, I told this story the other day. Like I remember going to the comic shop, like because the newspaper spoiled it that they were killing Robin again. I was like, no, but I remember going to the comic shop and like grabbing it, and like I read it at the comic shop, and like teary-eyed in the comic shop, cried a little on the way home, just like I can't believe Damian's dead. Like it was so. Anyways, and then like also Grant's like indie work and Invisibles is crazy, and like anyways, Grant's Zenith. Oh my god. Anyways, I love Grant.
We should check out Kid Eternity. I feel like it wasn't a book that a lot of people knew or even know about.
I find that a lot. Like when I go to the library, I find stuff by some of the biggest names in comics. I'm like, I've never even heard of this thing, and they even publish it through some weird random publisher you never heard of. They have a lot of stuff that slipped through the cracks. Creators like to create, and sometimes if it doesn't go through the main outlets, it just
you better hope Travis
somewhere.
You better hope Travis isn't watching and heard you say you went to the library.
Forget him. He's a hater.
That's an inside joke. He's always making fun of Frank for going to the
Oh my god, I get to read all the comics I want for free. It's a terrible experience. Like, what do you get out of here?
No, sometimes I feel dirty about like because I use Hoopla all the time, and it's like Hoopla, it's phenomenal. And I'm like right now currently subscribed to Global, DC, and Marvel. So like, but so like for $35 a month, like you can I have like you don't really ever have to buy comics, and you get DC a month out, right? So like a month after shelves, you get to read DC, and it would be a little bit cheaper if I paid for DC. Would have been real cheaper if I wouldn't have got fired and canceled my DC Ultra subscription because I was grandfathered in at $99.99, but I had to cancel all my subscriptions. Anyway, now it's $120 or $13 a month. Either way, it's worth like you get you get all the DC stuff a month after, and KO's about to be huge. And I think it looks awesome, but I can't afford 50, 60 issue crossovers anymore, guys. I just can't do it.
I actually still, the only comics I buy at comic shop now are usually distillery books, because I think everything that they're putting out is so. Distillery for me is what Vertigo was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of almost stories, not as epic as say Preacher or Sandman. I would love to see another series like that. I feel like I don't know if we have the attention span for it anymore.
I know. I worry about that too. We don't have these huge spiraling runs that then sometimes spawn other series that turn into huge spiraling runs. Like it is rare, but I mean, maybe there's hope. I miss it. I miss the days when people got to hang out with a character for a while and really get to know them, really cause a ruckus.
Some of my favorite comic series, like from beginning to end, are like 50 issues long. I feel like that's a great amount of issues to have. You got Why the Last Man, Ex Machina, Punisher Max was 50 issues.
I know Dave likes Ex Machina.
Yeah,
Tony Harris.
So East of West is around there too.
Oh, that's so good. I need to read Ex Machina. I've wanted to read that for a while.
I have about 47 pounds of Starman on my shelf over here too, between the compendiums that I bought. So.
Dave, do you remember around pandemic times when like everybody was hunting down those hardcovers and they skyrocketed in price and like no one could get these things, and like volume 3 was selling for like $900 or some weird shit, and then like on Facebook Marketplace, like the Starman sets were like popping up for, like if you found one for like $500 or $600, like it was almost worth taking a loan out to get if you could. Like it was just like they were hot as fuck and everybody wanted to read them. DC Ultra wasn't out. You couldn't read them online. It was like the only way. And then like all of like now there's all these compendiums and everything. It's I remember I wanted to read them. It was funny when you couldn't get them. I wanted those hardcovers so bad. And now I can read them on my tablet, or I could buy the compendium, and I still haven't read an issue of Starman.
Starman's one of my, I love Tony as an artist and as a person. Starman's one of my favorites, so it always will be.
I've heard it's absolutely phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. It's well written. It's a great story, and yeah, Tony is an unreal artist. Unbelievable.
That's crazy. The top 10 omnibus at one point was 7th. I had the DC the Infinite Crisis omnibus for a while was $1,200 on Amazon, and I almost sold it and never did, and then they finally reprinted it. I've had a couple like books, and again because I was like hardcore in the omnibus life for a while. Like I'm so glad I fell out of that because I'm never going to read all these books. I don't have time. No one ever tells you when you get a job in comics or start making comics, you don't get to fucking read a lot anymore. Because like you all of a sudden you're like the first thing you think of doing when it used to be like, oh, when I get off work, I'm gonna read some comics.
I'll show you what I'm reading.
Okay.
Dave might like this actually.
I have 6 bookshelves of graphic novels, so
that's why I like the library, man. You get them and then you give them back.
Yeah, I do too. I have crazy comics in storage and stuff.
Is this the Colorado?
Like all these cabinets have like omnibuses. Like you can
this is a read.
Ooh, okay.
So in Italy, this is still probably the best-selling comic, and it's not a joke. It's not like the terrible movie that was made here in the USA. Like, there's an editor now, Barbara Beraldi, and the artist and the writing is phenomenal. But this one's a little older. But there's this guy Corrado Roy, insane, and you can't get these in America. This is in Italian.
Oh wow.
I feel like I remember a Mignola cover for Dylan Dog.
Yeah, he did. You won't see that in Italy. You have to find that one usually here, maybe at a comic shop. But they still print it in digest. You can buy them in the grocery store, at the bodega, which is one thing I do love about Italy is you can find comics everywhere. So if you're a kid, and I have a 7-year-old, who loves comics, and I truly believe he loves comics not just because I make them, but because they're everywhere, like it was when I was growing up, at the drugstore, at the smoke shop, the spinner racks. They don't have a huge selection. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Dylan Dog, Rex. There's some horror stuff. Try to keep that away from him a little bit. Italians do love horror comics. But I miss that about America. I really do. I miss the accessibility of it as a medium. You know, I understand that, you know, back when we were a kid, they were almost more throwaway kind of. I mean, they were collectors, but not like it is now. You know, now it's nuts. I mean, the speculative market is like off the hook.
What's the art scene like in Italy? Because like at work, at Prana, we work on Recca Comics as the future is, and they have found some really great artists from Italy, and I've heard, like, I've seen a lot of like Italian artists pop up on like Kickstarters, and
Yeah.
there's like
And you will.
it's these young hungry artists that like already have an astounding amount of talent. Like, is there
That's-
something special, like in the,
Yeah.
not like special in the water, but in the community? Is it like more encouraged to pursue
Yeah.
artistic endeavors?
Well, there, you nailed it.
Okay.
Because I'll give you an example. So when I'm in New York, and people always ask you, "Oh, what do you do?" You know, I'm an artist. Oh, well, what medium? You know, like, well, comics. And they're like, "Oh, there's money in that?" No. You know, no, that's a joke, but it's not really seen as an art form unless you're really familiar with the art form. But when I'm in Italy and people say, "Oh, what do you do?" and I say, "Fumettista," and they're like, "Oh, wow!" I mean, their eyes light up. It's like, how do you do that? There's a lot, because they don't separate. If you were like painting in the museum and you were doing a comic book, like, you are an artist, and art and food and culture are very much part of the Italian life. So just because it's a comic book, it's not seen as a lesser form. So there are comic schools everywhere. You don't have to go to Jersey to the Joe Kubert School. There's 20 minutes away from me is an amazing comic school. My 7-year-old just did a summer camp there. They have like 30 of these schools all over Italy, and there are people, you know, very, very young people with insane amount of talent, because I meet them both at conventions in Italy, and like I've met actually some of them were at New York Comic Con, and I got to meet them. And no, they're insane. I mean, they make me want to just quit now because they're so good. And I said it last year that, you know, these guys coming up from Italy are the next superstars. You know, so when Pepe Larraz starts to fade off, which he probably never will, because he's so damn talented, you know, it's going to be replaced by an Italian most likely, because it's just cultural. It's not seen as a lesser art form. Does that make sense?
I don't hear him.
Yeah, me either.
As even in my family, my mom, like, and a lot of my family, like, because I work and I do like some production work and PR work and shit, and build Kickstarter campaigns now, and like and I make money, I pay bills with it, and like my family's like, "Oh, like I just thought you did a podcast, you make money," and I was like, "What the fuck did you think I do?" Like, it's like, anyways, but yeah, so like it's like they don't get it. When I was a bouncer, you know, I was partying all the time, but like I was still working. I worked every holiday, worked every weekend, and but you know, a lot of my family was, "Oh, he's just partying," and I was like, it's still a job. And then I comics is kind of like that too. Not that it's partying, but it's just like, well, how can you have a stressful day in comics? Like, well, it's all
very easy. You
all
go
it
on
is
Twitter.
deadlines. Yeah, you go on Twitter, and it's and if you're working in comics, you
very,
have
very
deadlines.
easy to get stressful in comics.
Like,
You talk to other people. That's like,
That's why I have no Twitter.
yeah, I still try. I try and put everything everywhere, thinking, I don't know why I do. I guess thinking one day I'll wake up and 1,000 people watch my show at night, and I'll get $5 from YouTube for ad money. I don't fucking know. Anyway,
Well, I think we're all in the same boat.
they keep the dream alive.
But a lot of, you know, we're all in the same boat, or similar boats, and I think that, you know, I've had my days, you know, of like, what the fuck am I doing this for? Like, but then the thought is, what else would I be doing? Like, anything else, you know, I mean, the only other thing I would think is I would plant apple trees or something stupid, you know, and like, or a taco truck, you know, in Puerto Rico.
No, yeah. People keep telling me because I love to cook. You know, everybody's like, I just don't understand why you don't start a food truck. I was like, well, it's about 50 grand. I like it's you got to like the truck, and then it has to pass all those inspections and license, and then the food equipment.
It is
And then,
so
anyway.
hard.
Yeah, it's
So
and
hard.
yeah, then even if you have the money, then it's like, God, could you imagine that'd be like a Kickstarter every day for the rest of your life, never knowing if you're gonna fund or not.
Every day is launch day. Every day you're just handing out sandwiches. Back day one.
Yeah, like, oh man, Dave, when in your other indie projects, like, do you have a lot of experience with crowdfunding?
So Futility Shapes was the first. I've always kind of paid my own way. The stuff that I've done, I've just bought it and then tried to recoup it on the back end. So Futility Shapes was the first time that Edward and I had put together any kind of crowdfunding. And I mean, it was successful, but Edward was a little more confident because he's done it before, just kind of hanging in there with the, you know, don't worry, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. And I'm just like, you know, from day one all the way through the end, like, what if it doesn't do this? Who's going to back out? Someone's going to back out. Like, nobody, you know, it's not going to work. But it did it. And then we get the books printed. I didn't have to pay to get books printed, and I didn't have to recoup anything on the back end, and people got their stuff, and you know, it was a good time.
Nice. I did want to bring up, because I noticed when we were looking at the pre-launch page, the pre-launch page looks great, and some folks out there still aren't utilizing the pre-launch page, and you really should, because it's like free advertising. You can like you can use it as a blog, and you can send pre-launch updates now and shit. Anyway, they're really putting some cool stuff in there, and it's kind of I legit, it's like a bummer when like you click on a pre-launch page and it's just the banner. It's just
Well,
your
the only
project
problem
image.
is they're on the back end, they haven't evolved the mobile view. So if you're
Oh no shit.
if you're clicking a link that like kind of opens like the app, you don't get to see the full pre-launch page.
Oh,
You
that's
The
actually
app
have
is always
go.
terrible. The app is never.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
never used that. I never used the app.
The app-
anymore.
But a lot of times, if say you're on Facebook and you click on a link,
Yeah,
not always, but sometimes it'll take you. If you have the app installed, it'll take you to.
it'll take you there. Yeah.
Which is not yet caught up with all these new cool functions.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, anyway, maybe that's the problem, but that's been a thing. I've been getting kind of good at it. I'm kind of into it, like building the kicks. It's like building the page, right? But it's like a little smaller thing to kind of get. I don't know. I dig it. But y'all got like over 200 pre-launch followers is where I wanted to get, which that's a great place to start. What was what was some tactic? What are some things you can share about getting that number up? Because I myself have struggled with it with clients. And sometimes, some people leave them up for a long time now, several, 1, 2, maybe 3 months at a time. So they let them sit for a while so that it accumulates over time. Some people it's for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, or the month. What was some stuff you guys tried in accumulating followers for the pre-launch here?
I think the person most likely to back your campaign is someone who has backed you in the past.
Mm.
And Gerald and I have done a bunch of projects together, both together and separate. And we are trying to show those people, look, we're doing something special here. And we hope you want to be a part of it. And we're just talking from the heart as we talk about it and how much we care about it and how much it's going to blow their socks off, hopefully. And so I think that's resonated with people and has gotten those numbers up.
Oh yeah. Authentic marketing. Who would have thought? Weird.
Well, I mean, we started, like you normally do on Facebook, not just plugging in the link, trying to show the different art. And then when Dave came on, linking to each other. So people, because look, Dave has an audience that we don't have. and we have an audience that Dave doesn't have. You start putting all these people together. I mean, if you love Dave's work, you probably love this. If you love my work, you probably love Dave's work. You know, so as long as you're in, you know, you're all kind of like on the same vibe, there's a lot of convergence, you know, so that's part of what Frank and I just went out and sought to do, is make sure that every campaign that we've had in the past, that they knew what we were up to. We've evolved our Substack. It used to be just me, but now it's me and Frank, and the next one is just Frank, because Frank is always like, will you just go draw? Just draw it.
Kinda. I could tell when he answers the phone when I call him, he's like, if he's drawn or not, because he's like, hello. I'm like, go get a pencil.
Yeah, I have to eat my spinach, you know. So I think a lot of just sort of like making sure that we've had anybody who's ever liked anything that we have ever done has had a chance to see what we are doing now and put that into a newsletter form with their permission, of course.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not spamming people, you know.
Has that been tricky at all? Kind of combining your audiences, or people seem mostly just real fucking stoked about it?
No, I don't think this story probably as much. They might not like Immortal Coil. Say if you like the more, I don't want to say grim space, but there might be separation.
You know, if somebody says to me, if I had somebody who liked my stuff and then they said, you know, you're doing a lot of stuff with Gerald now, I'd be like, then don't read it. Like, just leave me alone. I know you either want to read it or you don't want to read it. You don't have to tell me either way. You know.
Yeah.
We're at the point where we're just like, look, we're going to make the stories we want to make. If they vibe with people, they do. If they don't, they don't. But like, it just is what it is. We're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep making the decisions. There's no reason to focus on the few people who feel like they want to complain about something.
What did prompt your relationship? Your creative, I know you guys have known of each other for a while and known each other for a while, but what finally like?
Oh, this whole story. It was a rainy night.
I mean, were you guys just tight, and did you like bounce ideas off each other, just kind of like in a like writers and creators do, or did something else happen?
No, not really. I mean, Frank and I were in the same Discord group. So we had some similar connections, and he had put a post about Swamp Thing and doing a short, and I had just done a Swamp Thing piece, and I just posted it and said, just saying. That's all I wrote, was just saying. And Frank didn't write me fucking back. I was like, well, fuck him. Fuck someone else. I can draw a fucking Swamp Thing.
It's kind of funny because I just did a 2-page sample thing of Swamp Thing as well. That was like my first thing that I wanted to do with Swamp Thing. So,
but that was not how our relationship started. I had this story, 1,000 Cuts, and I wanted to get on it, and I wanted to do more collaboration. I invited a bunch of writers, some editors, a bunch of people, artists, and we kind of started a Discord. You know, Frank pops in, like, and I imagine like Hugh Hefner in like a smoking jacket. He's like, yeah, in case nobody else was interested, I might be, you know. And that was totally his attitude, dude. It was.
I just live my life. It's up to you to narrate.
Yeah. And he was so aloof and so coy, but sparks flew when he was the only one in that group who actually put the money where his mouth was. And he had written like all of these pages like super fast. Now, not all of those pages made it into 1,000 Cuts, number one, but it wasn't so much what Frank wrote. It was like, this dude moves at my speed. And then the crazy part is we only found out not that long ago that we only lived like an hour and a half away from each other, which is even crazier.
Yeah, it's made.
Does that help your creative process? Do you guys like meet up in person? Because I hear people say that a lot. Like it's like, especially in all the Zoom calls we all do in this industry, but it's like so many people like, I miss being in that room. I miss being in a room with people where you can like feel their presence and smell the Cheetos on their breath.
When we do, when we get together, it's usually to have lunch and kind of chill and just.
We don't even
Oh,
talk
okay, so
comics.
you get together and be friends. You don't get together and work.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, sometimes we grab lunch and we don't even really talk about comics. We talk about other stuff. And I think that helps when we do talk about storytelling. We feel the notes that each other can touch upon. And yeah, it's cool driving up there and helping with fulfillment. I'm used to doing it myself.
Last month, and we were packing comics and sending them out.
That's why you guys are friends with each other.
I'm gonna see.
You gotta help her.
See Frank tomorrow morning. He's gonna kick me out by 11. He said.
I want to know when Frank's kids are gonna start packing the stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
I would get.
You know what? They're at the age where they want to help, but they make it take longer. No.
By the way, the chat. If anybody wants to show off any Swamp Thing art, the chat's clamoring for it.
Yeah.
No pressure. You don't have to bend to their wills.
The story with
They're just people.
So to finish that story, the Swamp Thing did eventually end.
All right.
I was looking at. I'm like, why does Gerald have a crib that's going across the camera?
Holy shit, bro!
Yeah.
Do you sell that? Do you have that at print and sell it at cons and stuff?
Yeah,
okay, got a huge stack of them. Okay.
Oh, it's a chair. I was like, what the hell is he doing? So Gerald finished that Swamp Thing short. It was 4 pages, and our buddy CJ put together an entire Batgirl fan fiction. It's like 40 pages long. And the Swamp Thing short ended up being like the backup bonus story behind that. So, yeah, it's published. It's in print form. It's an official bootleg comic. There's some of the pages from it.
Oh, look at that! Look at it.
No, that's not. That's Dave.
Shit,
Never mind.
Dave.
But that's still killer,
Isn't it?
Ooh, yeah, that's a Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
While we're on it, what the opinions? Swamp Thing is killing the children. Like I did not think that would like ever happen. I did not. They did this like Marvel DC crossover, and now it's like DC Super fucking Smash Brothers, and I'm kind of all about it. It's neat, but
that's a writer goal. That's definitely to have your original creation crossover with a DC or Marvel,
like a real
character. Like if they did that Invincible and Spider-Man and stuff like that.
Yeah. They did in Japan they did some Marvel crossover with the Attack on Titan manga too. There was some stuff, and I think it may have got released here in like singles or something. But anyway, I thought that was kind of I'm glad. Like I think it's neat. Like why not? You know, like we kind of mentioned it. You know, there's just like why there's a lot of barriers in this industry. There's like a lot, and it's kind of silly to like keep up those, right? Like why can't like Batman and Spider-Man hang out? Like why can't Batman hangs out with the Ninja Turtles now? And like that's dope. And the Ninja Turtles hang out with the Power Rangers and they're all fucking fighting Godzilla. Like it's crazy. And but I love it. Like it's like it's you know, and it's not some of it's a cash grab, but a lot of it's got like madhouse big name talent on it now.
You can have it.
Wait till you see Doctor Strange go to the dark side of the moon. So we're gonna do that next, Gerald.
Nice.
I love Doctor Strange. So
see, that's why I said Doctor Strange and not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What's up, Katie? Katie. I got a 10 out of 10 no notes. Everybody's digging the Swamp Thing. Yeah, I admit Swamp Thing's important to me. I remember like my dad showed me like a lot of cool shit that he shouldn't have when I was real young, but like the old like the Wes Craven Swamp Thing, and like they used to have all like the cool toys, and I used to have this Swamp Thing figure that like glowed in the dark, and I would like bury him in the mud outside because he was like part of the swamp. Anyway, I just like it was just like Swamp Thing's just always. And I didn't even know about a comic book then, you know. It was a TV show and cool action figures, and it was a hot minute.
It was a movie.
Yes, the movie, and then the recent TV show that was like actually sick, and then they canceled it because of weird reasons and stuff. But like he's Anyways, I grew up with that guy, and he's he's just silly and weird. But then the comics are very deep and intense.
They
Well,
can
that's-
be.
that's-
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, if it wasn't for Alan Moore, he just would have been continue to be a B.
Remember when he gave like Gabby his
Yeah.
gourd? And they like she eats his gourd and they like fuck.
Okay, we're done now, right?
Once we start talking about vegetable sex, I think it's time to.
I just could not like when I
All
read
things
that.
he said.
When I read that, I was like, I was like, what? And then the next, because she like hallucinates, right? It's just like
She
they
gets
have this,
high. She gets
but
high
that
from
like
it.
that double page spread that you like turn, and it's like, oh, that art. Oh man, that was gnarly. It's crazy. And again, these are things. Well, we don't get shit like that at all in comics anymore. But I don't think creators really get opportunities like that. Like, no one gets. Not many people get. Chip Zdarsky didn't even get 52 issues of Batman. Like,
Okay, well,
they,
but let's be clear. You're talking about, the two biggest publishers.
Yeah.
These kind of books are still made.
oh,
and
the like thematically, yeah. I just meant
Yeah.
like the long, even in indie, like long running is tricky.
Oh,
to
right.
continue.
Yeah. That is very rare for certain characters.
But yes,
money.
indie comics is where you can get weird and
I
find
mean,
an
listen.
escape.
I mean, comics today, especially when we're talking about Marvel and DC. I mean, really, you cannot separate the cinematic universes. They don't exist separately anymore.
I know, and it sucks.
They are the same thing. The
I hate
cinematic is the comics, and the comics is the same. And sometimes they veer off and do their own thing, but they really are completely connected to each other.
When I think of big two books that I hone in on, they're the things that off the beaten path, right? Not the main Avengers or the Spider-Man, like the Vision, that Tom King did. Like that was kind of an underdog book. Who would have thought that somebody would have taken the Vision and done like a whole family horror epic out of it? Like,
well, I think that's why the Absolute books have done so well. Not because they're just like so like on steroids. I think it's because they have nothing to do with the movies. They have nothing to do with it. Like they're not. I hope to God they don't make an Absolute. I would watch an Absolute Batman like Japanimation maybe.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
They kind of like it's kind of like back to like we're talking about Marvel Knights, not so much Vertigo, because Marvel Knights took the properties that were already pretty popular and just made them grittier and edgier and bloody. So I feel like Absolute series is kind of like what Marvel Knights had done back in the day, and it's like was just a departure from. Wait, do I have to see the movie? Is it not, or do I have to watch the TV show and read this comic? And then wait, do I have to read the other 6 offshoot titles? Man, that's just exhausting. And that's why I'm sorry, I stopped. I stopped buying those books. I stopped reading them. I mean, I'm a huge Jonathan Hickman fan, and I love when he gets on a book, but he, they even got him, there's like 800 different issues. And I'm like, I just want to read the core book. I just want to read the core. You kind of get spoiled when I was going to the comic shop in high school, like after school in the 90s, and there was like one X-Men title, and you had to wait to see, you picked up that cover with Mark Silvestri's Wolverine hanging on the X cross, and you're like, what happened? What's going to happen next month or, next week? And you like tuned in. We don't live in that kind of culture anymore. And I think that's unfortunate. I think there's a loss there. Not to sound like an old man, but I think there's something to long form storytelling. I think there is something to make people wait. And I think there's something to, develop the characters that you grow to love more than just like, well, you like Spider-Man, but now we're going to get you 50 different Spider-Man or, and this and that. Oh, and you like, it's too much for me now.
I think it's good romanticizing that, though. I think that every era has the way we consume our media, right? It's the 90s. It was different. We can't go back. Everything has changed. And I'm sure there's stuff that we're going to be doing today and 20 years from now, we'll look back and say, Remember in 2025, we used to binge watch a show in one day.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but we're talking about Kickstarter, and I think Kickstarter gives you a little bit of that
Yeah, it does.
long form storytelling, like with Dave, Ed and Dave did Futility Shapes #1. I can't wait for #2. And the thing about Kickstarter is we've learned to be patient again. We have learned to wait and sort of savor the time in between. So when #2, oh man, you go back and you read #1 and you're like, oh right, I love this book, and you want to go back and read that. Because it's very hard. Not everybody is Frank Martin, and can put out 6 Kickstarters a year.
I know, it's like him and Pat Shand are like the only people that can do it, and Pat Shand has a whole fucking assembly line crew of people.
Oh no, Pat blows me out of the water. He does like 20 a year.
But I feel like a lot of Kickstarter people, like if you say 3, they're like, whoa, and like, it's what'd you do last year, Frank?
I did 6 last year and 6 the year before, and this year I got backed up, so I'm only doing 4 by myself. But if you count the ones I'm doing with Gerald, it's more like
7.
See, that's crazy. That's cool though.
But I do have to disagree with Frank saying we're romanticizing, because again,
I didn't say that as a bad thing. I said that it was a good.
Look at Charlie Stickney, White Ash. I mean, this is long form storytelling that we used to be used to.
Yeah, and he got a movie
that book
deal.
has not suffered at all. I mean, I think it ended with close to like $60,000 because he has been telling the story in the way that I think that we deeply want stories to be told.
No, yeah, he's definitely doing something special with White Ash. Dave, you've been quiet for a little bit. We were kind of talking about what's going on, modern comics, what's getting us, and what do you think about all that, man? The big hyper bombastic, crazy. How many names can we throw together in a book to impress people? Juxtaposed to gourd eating indie comics, if you will. But are you like a mixture of them all? Like what do you like?
I mean, I go to the comic shop almost every week. I've been going to the same comic shop since I was like 7 years old, albeit with a little bit of a break between when I lived, different spots. But I remember getting Death of Superman, the trade, and, looking at that and some of the other books. And now, I mean, I just picked up the last kind of conglomerate of Marvel X-Men books. X-Men was always my favorite as a kid, being different and wanting to feel like it was cool to be different and that stuff. And now it just kind of feels like I don't know what I'm kind of reading sometimes. You know what I mean? I feel like those feelings, those kind of moments that you had reading books when you were younger, it doesn't seem like in some of these titles that I don't know. It's just not there. I don't know if I really have a preference between any. I mean, I think the distillery stuff is really good. Like Gone was great. I guess I go more off the artist. There's artists that I like that I'll pretty much just pick up anything that they do, for better, for worse. I recognize the art. I like the art. And then there's writers that I follow too, but there's not a lot of stuff out there. I mean, I'm a big horror guy. I like a lot of the kind of maybe more, the witches and that kind of thing, more so than, I don't know, Laura Kinney Sabretooth and some of the other stuff that's, I guess that they're kind of pushing through. Nothing, there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I'm also easy to please, movies, everything else. So I don't know.
Is Laura Kinney Sabretooth now?
Yeah. In the new
what
Revelations.
The fuck?
The cool thing about Revelations was there's
right.
there's Juggernaut and Magic or in Providence, which isn't too far from where I am.
In my fucking life, Dave. I gotta.
So, but I mean, Erica Schultz wrote that book, and she's great.
Oh, she's awesome. She's good people.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like everything, and some of the stuff I probably sit with a little too long. I mean, I liked this last X-Men run, but it kind of, for me, I was like, all right, so I hung in here for about 23 issues for Cyclops to get a migraine at the end of it. And that's kind of like what it is. Like, all right, a little bit of a letdown, but I'm like, hey, it's going to be different this time. they're going to do something different. It's going to be cool. It's going to be like, some of the Claremont stuff or whatever. But I'm also the kind of guy that just pulls the trades off the shelf and rereads them for the 4th or 5th or 7th or 9th time. I like what I like, and I go back to what I like. Something's Killing the Children. That's something, that I pick up that I like. But then again, it's more the horror stuff. I don't know. I guess I'm excited about the Vertigo line coming back. It looks more Vertigo. I kind of missed out on it a little bit during the 90s because I wasn't really buying comics then. I was getting whatever the Target or Kmart kind of bundle box was, had in there, the Gray Hulk and Thor, whatever it was. So I wasn't really kind of buying stuff off the shelf then, but everybody always tells me that I would have been right at home working for 90s Vertigo. So, I'm trying to get back into that, the Sandman and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I like everything. If I see something, I'm really like a little kid. I see the cover catches my eye, I pick it up, and I look in the interiors and I'm like, I don't know. I can't read a book with bad art. I don't want to say bad art as an artist because, I hate 99.7% of everything that I do. But if I'm not liking the art, if it doesn't kind of jive with me a little bit, then I can't get into it. It doesn't matter how good the writing is,
That makes sense.
So,
I mean, like as an artist, you gotta like what you see. I
funny because I don't like what I see most of the time.
I thought you were about to say like right
with
now.
my
I was
stuff,
like, wow,
not everybody's stuff.
Like I hate what I see on my screen right now. I'm done with this interview.
No.
Frank, can you read through bad writing for good art?
I like to consume everything, good and bad. I have this talk a lot, and people are saying, Frank, if you don't like that writer, why do you read them? And be like, so I know not what to do, because I think you need to consume everything as much as possible. So if I start reading a story and the writing is bad and the art is great, I'll keep going. If the art is bad but the writing is great, I'll push through still. I'm a completionist. I love to get to the end. If I stop reading a comic in the middle, it had to be like nails on a chalkboard.
We got a deep dive horror question because I just had to Google it because I didn't know what it meant. Katie wants to know, Dave, do you ever draw Michael Myers? Do you ever draw Ben Tramer? Maybe with a colorful explosion.
I mean, technically, I guess every Michael Myers could be Ben Tramer if I just throw a little bit of some maybe watercolor on the hair, Maybe that's what I've been doing this whole time. I've been drawing Ben Tramer and not Michael Myers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm a huge Ben Tramer fan.
It's Lori's boyfriend or is her crush or something.
I think he was just the dude that got T-boned by the cop that just got out of the car. Was like, oh, my eyes. He's plowed into a kid and he's next to a van, exploded in flames, and you got a headache. So.
I've been wanting to watch Halloween 3 because when I was younger,
I just watched that maybe 2 weeks ago for the first time.
I turned it off when I was younger because I had kind of cool parents when we had sleepovers, so we could rent like rated R stuff and stay up all night and drink Mountain Dew. And we were doing Surge. We were a Surge people back then.
Cool Ranch Doritos.
Surge and Cool Ranch Doritos.
Surge and Cool Ranch Doritos. Pissing every 5 minutes. No, anyway, now I have diabetes. Sunday.
On the donor list for a kidney transplant.
Sign up for my GoFundMe so I can pay for it because I'm a freelancer and don't have health care.
Just finish the podcast like this. Just keep going.
That'll be a future episode. Anyway, we turned it off. We were like, Michael Myers never showed up. This is stupid. And now it's kind of like this cult classic iconic thing. And I'm like, I guess I should finally fucking watch this 30 years later. Anyway, I've been thinking I've been watching like some spooky stuff. I've kept you guys a while and it's getting late. And on that note, this is how we're going to end it. Cliche as it is. And because Dave brought it up, it's his fault. Dave in the chat. We're going to go around. I want all of us, obviously the book we've been talking about for part of the time, sometimes in this interview, there's a link in the show notes. You guys can click it, follow the campaign. When you follow it, you get notified when the Kickstarter campaign goes live, and it helps the algorithm. It helps everything. Like really helpful to sign up, and signing it's up for free. I would definitely back it though, because it looks like it's gonna be a dope book. Anyway, find that link down there. So what we're gonna do is go around the room. and I want to know like a solid spooky season watch from everybody, and then also like social media. Frank, you'll love this. Like where to follow you, where to keep, all this. But mailing list or whatever we can do. Go around the room. Dave, I'm gonna start with you, bud.
Man, okay. So my socials, I go by DF3 Inc. So my website's df3inc.com. Instagram at DF3 Inc. I'm not on X, Twitter, whatever it is anymore. Place the dumpster fire. So it's spooky season every day. If you're me, I like the male Wednesday Addams, I guess. But I've been kind of watching horror movies since August 27th this year. I started a little bit earlier. The first day it hit less than 70 degrees. I was like, oh, it's fall. I'm going to watch horror movies now. The one movie I really liked so far that I've watched is the kind of, I guess it's a remake or sequel of Candyman, the 2021 movie. I actually really liked it. I didn't have a lot of complaints about it. So that's my my recommendation for tonight.
It was very cool. I loved like how it like really got into the culture, like
it was good,
culture.
man.
Oh,
yes,
dude,
it was really good. I dug it.
Awesome. Hell yeah, I dug it too. And Candyman, like for me, like being a younger, Candyman had a very like I saw that early. It terrified me.
Tony Todd. Oh, I don't know if it's movie's like 4 years old. I guess I can't really say. I don't want to spoil it now, but the Tony Todd stuff was really well done. I thought too. So
yeah, definitely. Recommendation from the chat. Christine and Carrie, great. Stephen King are always good.
They're all gonna laugh at you. Sorry.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
Yeah, true. Pour one out for him. Gerald, what about you? Mailing lists, where to follow you, and something to watch.
Oh boy, something to watch. That was a tough one. G. Von Stoddard, pretty much on everywhere. That's where you can find me. Hanging out on Facebook mostly, Instagram, G. Von Stoddard art. Blue Sky, but I don't use it much. Really, not so much. And Frank and I have a newsletter called Third Contact Comics on Substack. Search it up. You'll find us. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out. And watch. I'm like Dave. I'm like a goth kid that's just balding and gray now. So I'm a huge Tim Burton fan. I will watch anything except the new Beetlejuice was a pile of shit.
Oh, man, I love that.
And I feel like he didn't even make that movie. But Frankenweenie, one of my all-time favorite animations ever made. But I also love Peter Jackson's early stuff. Dead Alive is one of my favorite movies of all time. And Bad Taste. These movies are sick. Scared. But if I want to be scared, the original Poltergeist still scares the shit out of me because my parents left me alone and we just got HBO. I was like 5 years old. And I was like, I'm going to watch Poltergeist. And I couldn't sleep for like a month. I wouldn't even go near the TV. I was like, oh my God.
The meat.
Fucking walls.
The meat in the dude's face still fucks with me, man.
Explains so much. It's all clicking now.
So Poltergeist still my all-time. That movie still scares the pants out of me. But I just like watching creepy stuff in general. I don't really care. I like the more campy kind of creepy stuff. And
nice. Awesome. I haven't seen the original Poltergeist in a long time. I know they made. I kind of remember the remake too. I don't really remember much about it though. We got a ton of movies in the chat. Real quick, I also agree with Rec, and I also prefer the original trilogy that's from Spain. I believe you got it. It's with subtitles.
I like the Spanish one more.
Yeah, better. It goes hard. Halloween, Sleepy Hollow's good. Wolfman, Bride of Frankenstein. I'm also stoked. I think we gotta wait till November, but for the new Netflix Frankenstein.
Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow was actually phenomenal.
It's a great movie.
I love the Benicio del Toro Wolfman movie too, by the way. That's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah,
all-time favorites.
Also, Creepshow and Trick or Treat are great. And then I'm really into I got into the VHS movies that they do on Shudder too recently. Trick or Treat. I haven't watched Trick or Treat in several years. I believe it's back in theaters for a short time, possibly.
I think I watched it with my kids. I think it's PG-13. Not
Nice.
that would stop me, but I'm just
the Del Toro, it comes out theatrically this month, and then I think like November 7th or 11th on Netflix or something.
I loved the Nosferatu though. I think
I did too.
I think Dave Eggers is making some gorgeous films.
Dude, sexy,
He's doing the Wolfman movie
sexy
too, I
body
believe,
horror.
so.
There's something about it. I got to see that new Demi Moore Substance or whatever.
Oh my god, dude, that movie's nuts. That's a good movie, actually.
My mom tried to watch it and she was like, "It's weird. I couldn't get into it." I was like, "Oh, it means it's gonna be dope."
That's right.
it's a
The movie
barometer.
your mom thinks is weird.
Yes. Frank? What about you?
Where to find me? This thing at Frank the Writer. That's my social handle, and sign up for the Third Contact Substack because I'm having a blast writing the emails that are going out talking about love and death because it's a lot of fun to write. So as far as horror stuff, we were talking about compilation movies. I don't think enough people talk about horror TV. I've seen a lot of great horror streaming shows. Slasher was great. Yeah, every season is like a different story. I was surprised by how much I loved the Scream TV series that MTV did. The first 2 seasons of that was good. Then there's 2 sentence horror stories. That's like an anthology show, and also American Horror Stories is great too. With the S at the end, American Horror Stories. Every episode is like it's a self-contained story. So yeah, I might buy Monster Mortician, Frank. Monster Mortician's fun. I'm making a Monster Mortician comic. I'm hoping Gerald does a cover for it. So what that is, it's my character. He's kind of like a wise ass, but he is a mortician for monsters. So he does funerals for vampires, werewolves, fairies, anything supernatural. And then he gets caught up in antics because of it. And I've written a whole bunch of short stories. I did a novel for him. He's like my catch-all character. So that was a good find.
Frank has a really great horror comic too called Macabre Motel.
Yes.
Macabre Motel is a lot of fun.
Yes.
Actually, the first one he did is I love it. I actually really love that book.
Chad says they just watched Hellraiser. Hellraiser's that's another one that like has freaked me out for like
I like the
a
new one.
significant portion of my.
The
I did
new one
too.
was great too.
I thought the new one was sick, like and
The
disgusting.
first one for me, I
It's special,
watched
yeah.
them all, but it's that first one was insane. Oh my god!
Didn't they do one in space?
Yeah,
I think that was Jason, right?
I think they
Oh,
did
it was
Hellraiser
Jason's
too.
face.
No, I think they did Hellraiser. Did Hellraiser go
And
to
the
space?
one with the phantasm, the one with the balls that used to
Yeah,
freak me out as a
Bloodline.
kid, too.
Can we get a Jason X cameo in Dark Side of the Moon? if we can, just Love and Death.
That would be a good crossover pinup.
Got a bunch of Mike Flanagan love in the chat. I'm stoked. He's doing Carrie. He's doing like a mini series of Carrie, and I read Carrie a couple months ago, and found out recently I just like Stephen King a lot. But it's the Carrie novel. If you've never read it, it's similar to the movie, but it's almost like The Office or like a documentary. Like as the book goes on, they're interviewing the survivors of the town. And so you get like snippets of like
Really?
the townspeople's reactions, like after
I think
everything.
I would love to see
That would be a much better movie.
Yeah.
That's how they wrote. That's how Max Brooks wrote World War Z.
Yes, so
It was
it's-
great. That's one of
yeah.
my favorite books. So, I hated the way they made the movie. They should have followed it more like.
Because
the book.
they think to make $1 billion, you have to make things dumb.
I know they had Brad Pitt in it. They could have done whatever they wanted. They had Brad Pitt.
I guess. Sure.
I will say I've been watching a lot, and I had a reaction to a movie that I've never like. I'm usually I can eat during most horror movies. Like I can eat dinner and watch some gnarly shit, and it doesn't like bother me. I watched Bring Her Back, and there's a part in it with like teeth and a mouth, and I mean, it felt like I was being tickled. But I was watching it by myself, but I'm like, no, I'm squirming. Like I physically like wriggling around, and I've never had a movie. I've like been scared and like realized that like I'm holding myself, but I've never I was literally like trying to wriggle out of my skin at a couple parts and bring her
I
back.
think Substance has moments like that. Substance has moments where it's like you have like a little shudder because it's body horror, and
We've
like,
lost that a little bit, I think, with a lot of movies. They're getting back into it with practical effects and really making it feel as real as possible.
Yeah.
I think the computer CGI is kind of like they've leaned on it too long as far as horror is concerned. Horror is about atmosphere, and
this felt there was very good practical effects, and I just recently watched, which was disgusting, but such a good movie, Terrifier 3. But like the whole possession stuff they're putting into it it's so over the top. But I don't know.
I try with those movies, because I don't mind gore, but I was like, this is just boring the shit out of me. Like, I don't like that character. I think it's he doesn't scare me. He's not terrifying. I'm not terrified of clowns. Well, in Poltergeist, I was terrified of a toy clown. I'm terrified of toys.
Okay.
I think
anybody who has kids knows the fear of a toy just turning on in complete darkness by itself.
It's happened, and it's like, God damn it! I don't even believe in ghosts, but what the hell is happening?
I think Poltergeist was ruined for me because I saw Coach first, so it wasn't the same.
See, Coach.
Oh, shit.
Coach and
Like, oh, that's Coach. This movie can't be scary, Reverse order. Sorry.
Listen, I love all you guys, but I gotta go.
No, it's getting late. Everybody, this was super fun, and I appreciate everybody hanging out. Before we all say goodnight, anything else we missed? Anything else anybody want to say?
Give us money for the book. That's pretty. Right.
When does it go live? November
3rd.
November 3rd. All right.
So.
Sign up. Links in the description. I have no doubts it's going to be amazing. Dave, it was so great to meet you. Gerald and Frank, Likewise. It was so great to catch up. Frank, I haven't talked to you in a long time. It was so great to catch up with you and fun to laugh.
Can we shout out Edward's book real quick? He asked me if I could shout it out. He's the editor as well. It's called Sprite, Spryte. It's a young adult fantasy adventure comic book. It's live today.
The art looks really cool.
I contributed a cover to this book, but that's not the reason you should get it. You should get it because it's really cool. Edward's great. The writing's great. The art's great. I'm not the artist on it. But yeah, Sprite. Check it out on Kickstarter everywhere where Kickstarters are.
Is it
live? And again, if nobody knows who Ed is, Ed and Dave.
Live today.
Ed and Dave made a great comic called Fertility Shapes. So we have made this little joke that Love and Death is like Team Immortal Coil hanging out with Team Futility. So
I affectionately refer to Sprite as Garlic Man in every conversation, and I can actually make the Sprite character in emojis when I text Edward because I just use garlic, a shirt, and pants. So it's pretty cool.
No, this looks sick. I like this art a lot. Awesome. I got the links posted, so check that out too. Day ones are the first couple days are very important for campaigns. So if you feel like supporting indie comics, we got some cool stuff for you to check out. Follow this campaign so you don't miss it when it goes live. All right. Love more, hate less, read books. This was so fun. Everybody who hung out in the chat tonight, thank you so much. The new people who showed up tonight, thank you so much. It was fun talking horror movies. Let's go watch some. I need a fucking hot dog. Thanks, everybody.
Peace.